Yeah, I was just really proud of the way we competed on Saturday in the win over James Madison. When we play clean football, don't turn the football over, tackle well on defense, we can be a really good football team. And this week's Georgia Southern week is always exciting. Our players are motivated and excited to play such a great rivalry game. Our goal is always to go 1-0 and put ourselves in position for postseason play.
All right, appreciate that, coach. Just a reminder to members of the media, if you have a question, just go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, as you wrap up the home schedule this past weekend, what did it mean to you and the team to be able to be undefeated at the Rock after Hurricane Helene and just be able to bring, I guess the joy to the community with, that victory this past weekend?
Well, we're very fortunate here that we saw every home game this season. And then to celebrate 26 players that will exit this program after this season, their last game at the Rock, we celebrated 19, but 26 will exit. A couple of them walked last year. So just is really good for our community, for our county, for everyone involved, Appalachian State, a great win. And again, but we have more work to do.
And then as you talk about the more work to do, what do you see from Georgia Southern that makes them a difficult opponent to prepare for this final week of the regular season?
Yeah, Coach Helton's done a great job at Georgia Southern, and again, it's they're explosive on offense, really good on defense, great on special teams. It's going to be a challenge, and you can throw your record out the window in these kind of games because it's such a great rivalry game, and we have a lot of respect for them and Coach Helton and his program. So these are the kind of games you want to play in this time of year when something is on the line.
And then, just in reference to what's on the line for you guys, obviously a win gets you bowl eligible. Would be the ninth time, I think, in 10 seasons for App State. So, what would that mean to the program to be able to get back to a bowl game and to win out here at the end of the regular season, these last two games to get bowl eligible?
Well, it's a goal every year for us getting the postseason play. And again, but we're going to take this one game at a time. And again, it's Georgia Southern week. It's a tough environment to play in. They have a great fan base there, and so we all know what's at stake. We're going to make it bigger than what it is, but it's going to be a great game in Statesboro Saturday at 6 o'clock.
All right, appreciate that. Oh, we'll go over to Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, I just want you've had time to review everything now, film wise, but going back to the James Madison game, just what can you say you felt was the most effective part of your defense's performance in that game in the second half specifically?
Well, after we settled down, we were down 14-0, and we settled down. We were able to sustain some drives on offense, and that was huge for us. And then to be able to get the pump block there right before halftime, score going at halftime, and let our defense really play fast and physical. I thought we did a really good job on our defense and early downs, and to get them behind the chains and let our defensive ends and defensive line rush. But a lot of those, we got 4 sacks against James Madison. A lot of the credit goes to the secondary for making him hold the ball. So very fortunate to win that game. Again, it's a really good James Madison team. There's a reason why they've won 8 games this season. Coach Chesney does a great job with them. So I thought we played well. Again, anytime you do not turn the football over, you have a chance to win a conference game, and that was evident on Saturday.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, obviously tough one, but it's a new week. We're getting ready to go out and play a good Georgia State team. They're big win for them. Found their niche and kind of what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we got a big game. It's all for bowl eligibility, and our players know that, and coaches. And so we're getting out here and getting to work today.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. Just a reminder to members of the media, if you have a question, just go into reactions to raise your hand. We're more than happy to call on you. All right, we'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, as you look ahead to Georgia State this coming week, big game for you guys to try to get bowl eligible. What do you think has been some of the keys for them in the games that they've been successful, obviously including this past week against Texas State?
Running the football. I think they found, a method, a system. They've been lining up in some 12 and 13 personnel and running the football, controlling the clock a little better, executing some big plays, creating some big plays for them. Their defense is fast. They get to the ball. They do a really good job. They don't have to play as many plays as they've been playing, and so shortening the game. But it's going to be they're a well-coached, tough football team, and it's going to be a hard game.
And then for you guys, obviously coming off a couple of turnovers against Georgia Southern, is there anything you can do at this point in the year to kind of work on that, or is that something you just kind of flush and move on to the next game and focus here on Georgia State?
Yeah, I think for the most part this season, and really the last two, we've been pretty good. The last two games we haven't. I think we have 7 turnovers in the last 2 ball games, and you're going to lose games when that happens. Now, obviously, some of them were in this game and even last game were a little bit later when you're down and you're taking some chances, right? So you're gonna, I think 2 or 3 of those have been that, but we got to be better. We had a couple opportunities to make plays, to be in the red zone, in tight red zone, and ball goes off a chest, it's intercepted and changes the whole field position. Those are tough. I know that's happening to us quite a bit, where there's a play here, a play there. Troy was a swing pass at a tailback 2 minutes ago, 14-7, and it's a 4-yard touchdown, and now you're down. There's been plays like that each game right before half. It kind of, just demoralizes you a little bit, and we got to be better at that.
All right, we'll go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach Beck, on the offensive side is, you had a little difficulty getting the passing game going last week, but how vital is that going to be to being successful against Georgia State this week?
Well, it always is. I think number one, you have to be able to run the football to control the tempo of the game, but you got to pass it to win. Like everybody that's done that, with the exception of Air Force, obviously, first team to win a game without completing a pass. But other than that, I think you have to be able to, loosen the box up, get people off you a little bit, because you can see as the game goes on, they crowd you in there. And if you're not executing in the passing game, it's going to be for a long night. And we saw that last week.
Thank you. Oh, go to Sam. Sam?
Coach, just looking ahead to the potential for bowl eligibility, what would it mean for your program? It'd be the 5th straight bowl game for Coastal Carolina if you guys are able to get eligible this weekend. What does that mean for the program? And obviously, I know the extra practices and things like that, but anything else just from the program standpoint?
Yeah, certainly for the program. That's the expectations are try to to play for championships, and obviously we fell short in that category. So the next best thing is to continue to bowl and bowl eligibility, and for these players and these young men to have that experience to be able to go enjoy the fruits of their labor and try to get another victory and end your season in the correct way, right? If you fortunate enough to win your last game and fortunate enough to win your bowl game, you end up winning record and win 2 in a row, and you take that into the off season and you build off of it. So for a program, it's a huge ball game for us.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Tough loss, disappointing loss. Saturday in Jonesboro, our kids played extremely hard. We knew Arkansas State was a good football team. They're well coached. We had a big opportunity. We started fast. That was good to see in the game. And we went out and scored on our opening drive. They answer back 7-7, and then they take the lead. It's 14-7 at half. We come out, get a big stop, tie it up. Thought that, our kids showed a lot of fight and a lot of toughness. They take a 21-14 lead. We match them back 21-21. Had them stopped on a critical 3rd down there with about 7-8 minutes to go. They were able to, extend that drive and go up 28-21, so, and then we came up short there at the end. Just frustrating couple plays. They scored, I think, 3 of their touchdowns on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 12, and 3rd and 6. They got 4, they converted 4 third downs, and 3 of them were for touchdowns on 3rd and long, 2 of them 3rd and long. So, just some opportunities. Again, it comes down to 4 to 6 plays that we haven't been able to make in this last stretch, and we're playing good competition. This is a good league with really good coaches and good players, and our kids continue to fight and prepare to give ourselves an opportunity to win that next game.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, looking at Ahmad Hardy, became ULM's first 1,000-yard rusher since 2019 this past weekend. Obviously had a 200-yard rushing game this game as well. What has he meant to the program this year, and what does it say for him that, regardless of the wins and losses, he's been able to, get some yards for you and be a key cog to your offense throughout the season?
I think he's just been obviously to come in as a true freshman and perform the way he has performed, but it all comes down to who he is every day. His mindset and his work ethic and focus is not that of a true freshman, a normal true freshman. Just like yesterday in the weight room, he just ran the ball 30 times, and he probably had the hardest and the most intense weight workout that he did on the whole team. He's just built different. And that's what we do on offense. We like to run outside zone. That's our identity. And he's a guy that's really gotten better throughout the year at outside zone. It's not something that's easy to do year one. And he runs with a purpose. He runs with with violence. And he plays extremely hard, and 28, carried 28, 29, and 30 seem to be better than 1 through 25. And that's a sign of a great back. So he's been very instrumental of what we've tried to do on offense, and been very proud of him. And really our offensive line and tight ends have fought their tails off too to really try to establish our run game in year one.
And then, coach, in year one, as you're looking to build this program, build back at ULM, how big has it been to have, obviously 2 games so far and now a third game on ESPNU at home this weekend for senior day? How big has that been to just build the brand of the program, get eyeballs on and attention to ULM? And how big would it be to get a win this weekend at home?
I think anytime, I was told that this was the first time in maybe 8 years that we had been on national TV at home. But to have, I think it's that third or fourth game, to be able to have that at home, I think it's a big deal. You see our new brand, you see our kids play, you see the toughness and the passion and the fight, that we display every week as a team. I think it only helps us grow our brand. It only helps us in recruiting. It only helps us, as we continue to build this program. It's been a long time, since ULM's played meaningful games in November, and they all mean something. But what I mean by that is a game that could get us bowl eligibility. And I know we've been sitting here at 5 wins for a while. And those games that we won in the first half of the season, we were able to make those 4 to 6 plays and complement each other. And we haven't been able to do that in this stretch. And some of that has to do with the people we're playing. This league's really good, and coaches coached really well. And we just continue to try to battle and find a way to make those 4 to 6.
We'll go over to Adam.
Coach Vincent, in the last couple of weeks, it seems like your defense has had a little bit of difficulty creating negative plays for the opposing offense. And now you're going to run into a team like Louisiana, who's been pretty consistent with running the ball. What kind of challenge is that going to bring, and how are you going to prepare to try to increase that number of the negative plays for the opposing offense this week?
That's something, defensively, we've played hard all year. We've our roster is in year one is not built where we want it to be built. And I told the guys, I said, Arkansas State and Coach Jones, they've had 4 recruiting classes. They're on their 4th class. Marshall with Coach Huff, and they do great jobs. They've had 4 recruiting classes. And we've gotten beat up and banged up because that's what college football is. But we just, we're thin, and we're hanging on. And we got guys playing banged up and guys beat up. And that's the beauty of this sport, is it's a gladiator sport, and it's for toughness, and it's built for guys to fight through adversity. And look, Lafayette, we might have, the best team, and these guys are really good, and I love watching them play. I think Coach Dez has done a tremendous job, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves for what he's done there and the roster he's built. They've done a tremendous job recruiting. They've done a tremendous job coaching. They're detailed. They don't beat themselves. We're facing an offense that, to be honest with you, that's what we want to look like, year 3 and year 4. I think Dez has got, this is, you know, he's recruited a lot of these kids, and these kids are in their 4th and 5th year in the program, and they're built right, and they've been in the weight room, and they're coached really well. So we've got a huge challenge against a potential conference champion, in my opinion. You know, their losses are to Tulane, who's really good, playing in the conference championship game, and then to South Alabama, that South jumped on them, and I think South had 32 yards of offense in the second half. And they just came up a little they ran out of time.
I'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, you talked a little bit about Louisiana there, but what makes them such a challenge to prepare for coming into this final week? You touched on a little bit both offense and defense, their performances so far this year.
I think the challenge with these guys with their offense is they're 12 personnel. They have 4 5th-year seniors starting up front that have been in the program for 5 years. They're left tackle, left guard, their center, and their right guard. And they're really good. They're physical, they're big, they're athletic, they hold their double teams well, they move the line of scrimmage. Their tight ends are tough, and they can run, and they're physical. Their receivers are electric. I mean, they can take the top off any given play. They have elite receivers. Their running backs are, you know, big, physical, power guys that can also hit the home run. You know, they've got, you know, elite backs. So they're going to establish the run. They're like us. Then they're going to run the nakeds. Then they're going to play action and take their shots in their RPO. Yeah, I mean, they're a complete offense. They don't turn the ball over much. They don't make mistakes. They're a mature, experienced, you know, football team. If you look at them defensively, you look at their D line, they're all 6'4", 6'5", long, athletic guys that have been in the program. Their linebackers are downhill, physical, meet you at the line of scrimmage guys. You know, their corners, they do a great job with their technique. Their safeties are long, they're fast. Their nickel 18, I mean, he's in their 11 personnel. He's a great cover guy, and he's a fitter, and they like to blitz him. When you get in 12, they bring their Sam in, who is 6'5", 245 pounds, and runs and covers like a nickel. So this is an elite football team that's coming in that is experienced and been in that program, which you just don't see anymore in college football. And I think that's what makes them really good, is they're a team and they're built right.
Yeah, tough game down in Boone. Those guys did a great job. Coach Clark and his staff, I thought, you know, had a really good game plan and executed it well. We just didn't execute, you know, well on our part. I thought we started really, really fast, and there was, you know, some really good football at the beginning of it. And then, you know, just giving up 14 points before you walk in halftime with 1:30 left on the clock. Not an ideal scenario, but I thought we overcame that. I thought we came back out in the second half, and you know, I thought, you know, got to stop, and, you know, we're able to do some things. And then they just had a little bit of the run game that opened up on us, and, you know, ended up walking out of there with a loss. But I thought they did a really good job. I thought our kids, you know, showed a lot of resolve, obviously, and just continue to, you know, play hard. We just got to make plays, and we weren't able to do that, but we got to do that this weekend. So coming back home for an 8 o'clock kick on a really cold, you know, night, it'll be here on Saturday. And, you know, hopefully on this Thanksgiving break, we get some people back here and, you know, celebrate this last, you know, game and the seniors, you know, final day here. So, you know, just looking forward to this week.
All right, we'll start with Mike Barber. Mike?
Morning, Coach.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm excellent. What stands out about Marshall, both sides of the ball? What kind of jumps out at you about them?
I just think they're a complete team. You know, their you know, their record is what it is, you know, for a reason. They, you know, just play really good complementary football on all phases. They're very aggressive on special teams. They're very capable there. Their defense, you know, just unbelievable. And it's, you know, all goes through Mike Green. And you watch that kid out there. He's just a absolute matchup nightmare every which way you look at it. So we'll certainly have our hands full there, but you get to the back half, you know, and they're good back there. And then, you know, on offense, I love the way Braxton's commanding this offense right now. They're not afraid to run him in the +1 quarterback run game, and they do a really good job. And he could deliver the ball and counts the box up and slings the ball out when he has to, and has some very capable receivers as well. So they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. They're plus in the +1 quarterback run game. They're excellent. They're aggressive as can be in on defense with really great personnel. And then on special teams, all those guys are out there as well, and they're doing a heck of a job. So there's really not a lot of weaknesses in this team. They've built it the right way, and they've done a really good job of finding transfers where they need them and developing their own. So unbelievable matchup, and we're excited to get out there.
And you mentioned, the idea of getting the crowd out after Thanksgiving sometimes can be tough, but
Yes.
you've had great crowds this year. What kind of an accomplishment? What would it mean to be undefeated at home this season?
Yeah, it would mean a lot. I mean, again, I always go back to how this whole thing started and trying to piece it all together and getting where we have, and to have the support at home, and to, be able to put on a show for our home crowd fans. I think that's really important. I know a lot of it has to do with the students who aren't going to be here, and I know a lot of other people that might be out of town, but we got to get them back. We got to get everybody back here, and again, celebrate this team and these seniors that are, got to have them leave on a high note.
And last one for me, what's the significance in your experience of ending the year with some momentum? I mean, obviously you've got a bowl game in your future, but for building what you want to build, how important is it to end with some momentum?
I think it's always important. It's important for the guys that are currently on this team. We'll have a lot that will leave because a lot only have 1 year left. So a lot will move on. But I think for the guys that are, currently on this team, to be able to carry that into bowl week and to be able to carry that into the off season is really important. It probably helps a whole lot in recruiting as well. But, our ability, to just constantly have positive momentum moving forward from the winter to the spring and into the summer, into the fall. Now, again, back when we leave here into the winter, it's got to be a big piece of, just carrying on what we started to build here.
Thanks, Coach.
Let's go over to Shane. Shane?
Hey, Bob. I just was curious if you've had any talks or heard from the league office since Saturday about either or the things that were thrown onto the field while play was going on, or anything related to your guys making contact with fans who were on the field afterwards.
No, I haven't heard anything. I've not heard anything from, Matt Rohn or Matt Transu either. I will say that it was interesting, just coming up through that tunnel and the unprotected areas with the ice being thrown over. That was a interesting moment, especially with the coaches and our trainers and everybody else. It was not the greatest situation, but I think we all survived. But I thought they could have done a better job, obviously, especially with the security people watching them do it. I think there could have been a little more done to protect those people, especially without the helmets on, and whoever else, from coaches to support staff to, I know my son was out there too. I think it was a little bit of an interesting environment.
Yeah, and you would expect to have everybody who's healthy available for next Saturday.
We would expect everybody healthy, yes, available.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, appreciate it, Shane, and thank you, Coach. Really appreciate your time today.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We'll see you.
Man, disappointing loss. Man, give those guys a ton of credit. That coaching staff, I told you guys throughout the week and told our players, really good coaching staff, really good players. Look at the film, not the record. And sometimes that's easier said than done. So give those guys a lot of credit. We have a short week. We're out there on the practice field. I just ran up here to jump on this. First really good day versus a really good opponent. Obviously, no guys on that coaching staff and what they're about, and really good coaches over there, and probably the best offense in the conference. Love their quarterback. I think he's a tremendous player, receiver, big time player, running backs, everywhere. Just a really tough task again. Defense is playing really well, and we got our hands full again going on the road. Thanksgiving, got a ton to be thankful for, and just super excited and super blessed to go on the road and play a quality opponent. Questions?
Appreciate that, Coach. Just a reminder to our members of the media, if you have questions, go to reactions, and raise your hand. We'll start off with Jacob. Jacob?
Yeah, Coach, good morning.
Morning.
You've played 3 other games that aren't on Saturdays. Just wanted to know kind of like how your approach maybe has changed, or maybe how you look at the problem,
Yeah, they're all just different because we played different days of the week, so your schedule always is a little different. We try to make it as much like a a normal week as possible leading up to the game, and then those first couple of days you always have to adjust your schedule. So that part of it won't change. We are who we are with our process, and as far as that goes. But yeah, just unique, but it's always good to be able to play these big time games.
Go over to Sam.
Coach, obviously the first half was what it was against Georgia State, but what do you feel like your team was able to do in the second half to adjust and limit them to 6 points in the second half?
Yeah, that we just came out with more energy, more urgency. That's what it's about most of the time on defense is flying around and playing with passion, and we just weren't able to get that done in the first half, and we made some adjustments. We got really good coaches on that side of the ball that made the adjustments, and played much better in the second half defensively, and that's one thing. Our guys never quit, and we made it interesting there at the end. And man, I thought Bo Sparks had one of the more impressive performances I've seen from a player in a real long time. So a lot to learn in a loss like that, and got to be able to flush it and move on really quick.
Go to Adam.
Coach Kinne, you guys are going to go into Mobile, play South Alabama, who's got a lot to play for, championship aspirations. What do you have to do to get your team ready to, go into that with a team that's going to be, giving you their best shot?
Yeah. I think that's been something we've been getting everyone's best shot all year. That's just part of it. There's a ton of really good teams in this league, and we're one of them. And the Sun Belt is really competitive, and this is another one of those really good teams with really good coaches and players, and I know they got a lot to play for, and they're at home and Thanksgiving and all that. So we got to match that juice, and we got to match that energy and that the preparation and all that. So so far so good.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Really proud of our guys for showing a lot of resiliency, and proud how they fought during the week and during this entire season. Really happy for our seniors, and we're going to try to put them in a position to be successful this week, and hopefully can send them out on a great note. Open up for questions.
Appreciate that, Coach. Start with Brady.
Yeah, Dell, watching the game back, I was wondering, what did you see that from the offense let them establish a rhythm early in the game?
We were able to run the ball. Like I said, previous press conference, we were really clean on our spots. Quarterback made a lot of great decisions on checking the run play to the right play. Guys were transitioning into blockers. Running backs made some guys miss, created some yards at the contact, and had a little bit of balance there on first down and P10 where we were throwing and running the football. So we weren't in a lot of long 30-yard situations, which also helped, and the guys were just in a really good rhythm.
And Christian, going from starting to not starting, what did you see from him over the weeks when he had lost the job, his mentality, and to where he was able to come back and start this past week and have one of his best games of the year?
Yeah, he was still preparing the right way, still meeting with urgency, asking the right questions. So his preparation never changed during that transition. And, all of his hard work paid off in the game. I mean, he got a lot of the reps leading into the Texas State game, and he understood the game plan, and very proud of how he played. Still the same formula has to apply. We got to be able to run the football to help the passing game. And as long as we're able to run the ball, we're going to always have a chance to win.
And what would it mean to end the season here on a 2-game winning streak if you can get the win against Coastal on Saturday?
Yeah, it's not so much about the win streak, more so just trying to send the seniors out the right way. It's their last opportunity to play here in front of their parents and friends and family. So it's just more so how can we send them out the right way and try to get them a victory for their last game at Center Park Stadium.
I'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, you talked about obviously establishing the run being a key to the game, but also it seemed like, being turnover free was a huge part for your offense this past week to be able to get the victory. And then how big was it for the defense to come up with 4 takeaways?
Yeah, it was probably the difference in the game, especially when you add the fact that we didn't cover punts very well. So defense got 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, was very huge in the game. Also had a 4th and goal stop at the 1, which was critical and allowed us to win the game. As part of playing to win, we were able to outrush Texas State. We won the turnover margin, and big play margin was close. So they had some opportunities. We had some busted coverages that they didn't connect on. But very proud of our entire team, organization, coaches, for putting a good plan together and executing the plan and just making plays when they were necessary to be made.
Go over to Alan. Alan?
Yeah, Coach. Just, I guess, how proud are you of the team for just maintaining motivation and, the will to win, suffering through a difficult season, but, coming out and playing as hard as they did?
Yeah, it had never been a question of how hard our team plays. It's all about how we prepare and our preparation, and then that preparation leading to hopefully positive moments during the game. So our kids have prepared the right way. We really hadn't had bad practices despite being on a losing streak. And those kids are to be commended for that. Also the coaches for demanding the standard, and the players and the leadership group confronting and demanding the standard of how we need to prepare. Because in the long run, we know this process works, and you have to stick to the script and kind of blurt out and get rid of things that we can't control and really emphasize things that we can control. And that's what our kids have been doing. They're grinders, they're resilient, and they've done everything that we've asked them to do. Of course, we come out on the short end of the stick on 4 to 5 occasions, and we just didn't make the necessary plays, or we didn't coach well enough during those 4 to 5 occasions.
Coach, and then, Coastal comes in similarly slumping and needs 1 win to be bowl eligible, and has for a couple weeks. Do you expect to get a desperate team and a desperate effort from Coastal this week?
I mean, my main objective is to make sure we're ready to play, make sure we prepare the right way. I can't control what Coastal does and what their mode of this week is. I just know our mode will be to try to send these seniors out the right way. How do we honor our seniors in our preparation? And, it has to translate into the game on Saturday. Dealing with a lot of injuries right now, so it'll be the same thing, a next man up mentality at several different spots. And just got to get those guys ready to play.
Sorry. When you mention the injuries, you mind running through a few of your key injuries?
Zach Gibson's probably still out. Still left, offensive lineman. Linebacker Demaine Wilson probably won't make it back. So we just got several guys that's kind of on the fence right now that we got to make sure that if they can come back, they know the game plan. If they don't, then the people that are preparing this week will have to make sure that they're dialed into what we got to do to be successful.
Thank you, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, good response from our football team against a good Coastal Carolina team on the road. I thought the keys to the victory were the takeaways by our defense and really good 3rd down efficiency by them, holding a good Coastal offense to 2 of 12 and being able to get 4 takeaways in that. I was really proud of our guys. Another response on the road, and it allows us to stay in contention in the East. With that, I'll take any questions that you got.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. Just a reminder from members of the media, if you have questions, go to reactions, and raise your hand. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, you've talked several times about playing meaningful games in November. How meaningful is it for the Georgia Southern program that has so much history and tradition to be in contention and playing a game that matters on the last weekend of the regular season in the Sun Belt championship game race?
Yeah, I credit our seniors. We started this 3 seasons ago, and you go to back-to-back bowl games, and then you got to take the next step. And that's putting yourself in contention in late November. And here we are, really 4 teams in our league right now that are battling, 2 in the East, 2 in the West, that are trying to fight like heck to go 1-0 this week and put himself in the best position to have one more opportunity to go win a championship. So proud of that fact. Like is always said, I know it's coaching cliche, but you got to control the controllables, and the controllable right now is trying to go 1-0 against a good App State team that played very well last week against JMU.
And then, Coach, as you look ahead to App State, their defensive line was very disruptive this past weekend against JMU. What will you guys need to do to be able to slow that unit down and give JC French the time he needs to operate your offense?
Yeah, they're a nightmare out on the edge. I think Coach Sloan has done a wonderful job. 20 sacks on the year. You can just see how they fluster quarterbacks. Very similar to last week. I was nervous going into that game, and we protected the quarterback well, got the ball out quickly. I thought JC really did a nice job with team protection. Quarterback is responsible to get the ball out on time and make decisive decisions, and I thought he did that and helped our offensive line on our backs. So we need to do the same thing this week against a defensive front that is really, really well coached.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach, and you just touched on it with the defensive front you guys are going to go against. You guys tried a number of different things, handed the ball off to a few different guys. Run game struggled a little bit, but JC was able to distribute the ball really well. What are you going to have to do to get the running game going this week?
Yeah, we always say take what the defense gives us. If you go back and watch that tape, typical of Coach Niver, who I was with at USC, he's ultra aggressive, and we knew we were going to have to win our one-on-one matchups. I really went into that game saying the outside receivers were going to have to make plays, and all of a sudden you look up and Durham Burgess has 98 yards, and Marcus Sanders comes up with a huge touchdown catch on the outside, and JC throws for 298 yards. That was the game. If you're going to play man coverage and play one high, you're going to have to be good on the outside. And we were, and that created the separation in the game.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Appreciate it, guys. Hail Southern.
Yeah, I'm just seeing myself on this video. I look kind of rough. It looks like November. No, kind of like Coach Helton said, November, you want something to play for. And, for us, the last 2 years, week 12, we've been playing and fighting for our lives to be bowl eligible. So I'm proud of the work that our team and our staff has done to get us to this point. We're excited to be able to control our own destiny. I thought our guys did a good job last week, took care of business, had some key guys step in there and play really well. But it's going to take the same effort. We're playing a UL Monroe team that's going to be very motivated. I think they're the most improved team in the league. I don't know if that's even a question. And Coach Vincent and his staff have done a phenomenal job of instilling some belief in that team. And you can tell they still believe. They're still playing their tails off. Anytime you play these guys, it's the records are out the window. It's going to be a street fight. And, for us, we got to get our guys prepared for that. But certainly everything that we want's in front of us, and we need to take care of our business. We need to prepare really well so we have a chance to play well on Saturday.
I appreciate that, Coach. We'll start with Sam.
Coach, first, after the injury at Texas State, how big was it for Keon Martin to get back on the field for you guys this past weekend, regardless of performance? And then, on the top of that, how amazing was it to have him come up with 2 key interceptions for you guys on defense?
I told our team this yesterday. Here's a guy who's, in probably the scariest moment of his life is taken out on a spine board on national television in front of everybody. And the guy was dying to get back in there and go play with his team. And, I told him, I was like, so if you got a little bruise or you're banged up and you're sitting here questioning whether or not you're going to play, you need to go look at this guy and tell him you're not going to play. Because, unbelievable mental and physical toughness to come back in. And then, he was lights out. He had to guard a really, really good receiver all day. And, they made a couple plays, but my goodness, he made his share of plays. Having him back was a shot in the arm for us for sure. I couldn't be happier for him. And then on senior night, come back in to play the way he did. You could see our whole team, when he got those picks, I mean, our entire team went insane on the sideline because they knew how much it meant for him to get back.
And then, Coach, probably potentially the play of the game, Robert Williams coming up with the kickoff return touchdown for you guys after Troy had, narrowed the margin to one possession. How big was that for your team? And obviously for a guy that hasn't returned a lot of kicks for you guys this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. That was a game where it was kind of like a momentum back and forth a little bit, right? Second quarter, we kind of took momentum and had it under control. Third quarter, we came out, we kick a field goal. They get 2 drives in a row that they go for 2 at the end, and convert them and get it to a 7-point game. And it was, on the sideline, I was like, all right, it's time for a spark here. We got to go get back in control of this thing. And I thought we're gonna have to do it on offense. I mean, what a heck of a great call by our special teams coordinator, Coach Giuliani. Thought he had it set up pretty good, made a couple of small adjustments in there to kind of hide it a little bit. And my goodness, I mean, those kids executed extremely well. I mean, we talk about 11 for 11 is kind of like what we promote at the end of the week. And we show these 11 for 11 plays. That was about as close to 11 for 11 as football actually gets. Guys on the front line straining their tails off on the back line. I mean, some huge kick out physical blocks on the back line. And then Rob finishes. And I mean, you have some great effort on the back end. You got guys chasing the play, they hit by, which is what we call it. You can't blindside block anymore. So you got to kind of shield them a little bit. We have a big shield block at the end right there on a hit by to break him free. And he does the rest. So, we were really confident in Rob. I mean, every time he's gotten the opportunity to do it, he's done a really good job. Certainly having Zylan out is something I think that hurt us in the offensively in the run game as much as anything. So, we're hoping we're going to get him back, but, having Rob back there, I think maybe takes a little bit off of Zylan's plate, where coming back, you can say, look, man, let's just get him back in this flow on offense. And we got someone that can go handle it in the kick return game, because he almost broke another one. So, that unit's done an exceptional job, and Rob did a great job, hitting the home run when it was there.
We'll go over to Adam.
Hey, Coach, it was quite a physical game from my perspective, but also the second half there when Troy put together those 2 really long drives and started to mount their comeback. And then you had that kickoff return. Would you say that was almost, I mean, it's great to get the points, but for your defense, it puts them right back on the field. Did you see that as a challenge with Troy, really having some momentum in the second half, but your defense playing a large majority of the clock time on the field, your defense in the second half?
Yeah, it was kind of I told Coach Parker this before the game. I think they've done an outstanding job this year. They've completely shifted gears from, maybe what they kind of wanted to do early in the year to what they needed to do to win. And their kids are playing extremely hard, and they're playing really well. So, kind of knew that for us, we need to start fast on offense. And defensively, you needed to get some 3 and outs and things like that, because you knew they'd eat clock. I think the benefit of that return, though, I mean, it just energized the entire sideline. The whole stadium erupted when it happened. The 2 drives they scored on, I mean, we made them earn it all the way down the field. They hit a big trick play for us against us on the first touchdown in the second half. That's a tough play to defend. I mean, I've seen so many people run it. I mean, hell, we've practiced it on defense, because so many people run it. And it's hard to defend. They executed it perfectly. So, you tip your hat to them. They got down on the goal line. We made them earn it to get in. The next drive, they get a drive together, the quarterback made a couple really big throws. Then they run a reverse down inside the 5. We have a guy that's there. We just didn't pull the trigger, make the play. They get down there. So, we made them earn. I felt like we were still playing well on defense. I mean, the last 3 games before we played them, they were averaging 32 points a game. They figured it out on offense, and they're playing really good. So, thought we played well on defense. I was confident we could get a stop, especially when we got back to a 2-score lead, and it kind of took maybe some of the things off of the call sheet a little bit, right? Because now it's like, okay, two scores with 5 minutes left, like we got to throw it a little bit more, and some of that other stuff is off the call sheet. So I mean, I felt like it was right what we needed when we needed it.
And we'll go to Sam.
Coach, just one looking ahead to the final game here against ULM, obviously an in-state rivalry game, but what makes them difficult to to defend and maybe better than their record suggests on paper?
Well, I mean, I think football games are hard to win. They got 5 of them. So, they've shown they're more than capable, and they beat some of the best teams in our league too along the way. So, I think they're a really good football team. You have to say it starts with their running back. I mean, he's got over 200 carries this year, over 1,000 yards. This guy's a wrecking ball. We've played some really good ones this year. And if not the best, he's certainly one of them as a true freshman. So, I think it starts with him. I think that's where their mentality starts. That's their mindset. Coached against Coach Vincent when he was at UAB. And so I know that that's the mindset that they're trying to instill on offense, and you can tell they have it. I mean, they are going to line it up, they're going to run it at you, and then they're going to take shots over your head. So I think if he really gets going and you got to commit more people to the run, it's a problem, because then now you got less people for the shots over the top. And, you got to be able to control the line of scrimmage, which is not easy to do. They're running the ball for a bunch of yards, and a bunch of them a pop. So, I think their run game is what makes it really challenging. I think it's really very, very sound. They've got the edges covered up. They've got the issues covered up. They don't run into bad looks. They've got an answer for it. And I think the back is extremely special. I mean, of all weeks, if you ever had to gang tackle and get 11 hats to the ball, it's this week. This guy's never down. I mean, I can't tell you how many 50-yard runs he's got where it looks like it's over. He's wrapped up. Everybody kind of stops. And next thing you know, the guy runs out the backside of it and goes for 50 for a touchdown. So that's where it starts. On defense, they play a really physical brand of defense. They're going to make you earn it all the way down the field. And it fits really well what they do on offense. They're going to hold the ball, control the clock as much as they can on offense, and they limit their defense's possessions, which is kind of like what Troy has done the last few weeks. And it makes it difficult. Last week, we only had 56 plays or 58 plays, something like that. It's hard. It's hard to generate offense that way. So you got to try to find a way to do it. Naturally, we need to run the ball better than we did last week. We're just a little bit off, here and there last week. So we got to do that a little bit better, which will help us. But I think they play really good complementary team football. I think it starts with running the ball. I think they eat clock. They do a really good job. They put pressure on you the whole game to stop the run. And then when you do commit too many to it, they'll throw it over your head. And on defense, they make you earn it the whole way. It's hard to do on offense. When they make you earn it all the way down the field for 75 yards, it's hard at some point for someone not to screw it up. It's hard to go 11 for 11 every time. Rarely ever happens. So I think they've got a really good formula to win for them and what they are. I know they're going to be extremely motivated to play this game. And I have a ton of respect for Coach Vincent and what he's done. I mean, when we play UL Monroe, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a street fight. And we know that going into it. So, we're going to be ready. We're going to get their best, and they're going to get ours. And, we'll go play the game on Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, good to see everybody again. It's hard to believe we're at Thanksgiving week. Thanks for having us on as always. First off, you got to tip your hat and humble yourself and say congrats to Dez, his crew, and Lafayette. What a great Sunbelt atmosphere. I thought it was a beautiful day for football. We treated it like championship week for us because it's something we want to make sure we're in the conversation of in years to follow, and in championship games, and in playing the best team on our side and what we believe to be the best team in our Sunbelt that we've seen to date. No disrespect to anyone else, but they've put in a product on film that showed that. You can't make the mistakes we did. We just had a abysmal second quarter for a lot of different reasons in every phase. We come out of the locker room and get the thing back to 37-30, and then we got our heart broke by a return. That was just a great job by them and a phenomenal return, and they finished the game. They responded better than us and separated, but I was proud of our resiliency, and certainly, again, tip of the hat to them, and what a great atmosphere for football and another great Sunbelt game. So with that, I'll take questions. Thanks.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, you mentioned the resiliency of the team, but how big was it for the offense to go on the 2 extended drives in the third quarter and really, give your defense a little time? Obviously, it was coming out of halftime too, but I thought like the short drives in the second quarter were part of the issue for the defense, just in terms of they were constantly on the field for you guys in the second quarter.
Yeah, a 2-part question. First, to the defense, you can't do that to anybody. It's hard enough. They're a top 10, top 15 offense in the country, and when you give the ball to them at midfield or better, you're not helping yourself, which is essentially what you'd said is what happened. And then, of course, they earned the right to score too. They're good. but we didn't help ourselves there by losing turnover margin 2-0 in the second quarter, and just put us in a bad situation. To the second part of your question, which I forgot what it was, Sam.
The resiliency coming out into the third quarter.
Yeah.
With the extended drives.
That's about how my life is right now. You just pay attention to all the negative, right? On a positive note, we came out and did what Troy has been doing. The way it wasn't staff driven as much at halftime this go around. I would say our players led the energy in at halftime and in our locker room to create some belief. They came out. We gave up 3 points and still put ourselves in a tough spot, but it was better than a touchdown. And then, we reeled off 16 points there to get ourselves back in it. And I think, again, it shows you what these guys in the locker room are about and what our staff's about. But it wasn't enough after, of course, the big return. But proud of our guys in representing who we are and how they came out of the locker room in the second half.
And then, Coach, you get to come back to the vet for your final game of the season. What is the importance of this game? Obviously, want to send the seniors out the right way, but also for those that are continuing with your program to really kind of give you guys some momentum going into the offseason.
Well, just that. I think anybody would say that that's not real is we're not being honest. For us to finish this season with 3 out of 4 wins and to go into this offseason with momentum far different than when I took the job and all that entailed is way different. I think it just kind of finishes out like, hey, this is how we're going. This is the direction we're moving. And keep the thing going forward is critical for us. And it's something that we have to do, and it's going to be a tough thing to do at home, so we've got to make sure we do so. And we got to, ignore some distractions that exist on a Thanksgiving holiday week, on senior day and all the things that are going on. And then the normal distractions of the end of year stuff that now are a part of all of our coaching lives and portal worlds and changes and figuring out what's happening. So I think every coach would give you an honest answer to let them know that there are tensions are high and attention and antennas are up for everything. And we've got to continue to do that to serve our players and put ourselves in the best position.
And we'll go over to Heath. Heath.
Hey, Coach, playing Southern Miss this weekend has been a tough season in Hattiesburg. What are some things you've noticed maybe on film or things you noticed about the team since Hall's departure and Reed taking over? What are some things you've noticed about the team that may be a little different that poses some obstacles for you guys?
Yeah, well, first off, not to compare. That's not fair. I know Coach Hall, and it's one of those tough things to not be able to compare with him not there. But I think that you do see a team that has certainly not quit. They play hard. That's apparent on tape. They've got talent at every position, but especially at the running back position on offense, defensively. They have great answers for all formations and adjustments, and they're playing hard still. This isn't an operation that, quote unquote, is cashed it in. So that's a testament to all those guys that are still over there, keeping that thing patched together. I've been a part of that. I've seen that movie and been a part of what that's like. And I commend those guys for what they've done to keep that thing together and keep their guys there and playing hard. So it'll be tough just because every Sun Belt game is tough. I've quickly learned. And they've got a talented enough roster to create concerns. And it would be very naive of us and immature of us to approach this game any differently.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you all.
Disappointed in the way the game turned out the other day. I do feel like our guys were ready to play. That we came out hot, we came out passionate, did some really good things in the first half to put us in a position to possibly win that game in the second half. And we came in with a big field goal right at the end of halftime, so we felt like we had a lot of momentum, but we lost it really fast. In the second half, we gave a quick 3 to 4 play touchdown drive right off the bat. But I'm proud of these guys. It's a unique situation this year. It's been a tough situation. We're a 1-10 football team, but I do think we're a 1-10 football team that plays really, really hard. We're starting to play better and we're starting to play smarter, and that was evident last week, and that's why we had a chance in the second half to maybe make that a game. But it's going to be a big challenge this week with Troy, much improved football team. These first year in their program, and Coach Parker, they've been consistent, and you can see that they're making great improvement, and they're a really good football team here late in the year.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Heath. Heath.
Hey, Reed, there was a time where you got the ball down there, I think 1st and goal 3 after a personal foul. And after a penalty, it comes out, you delay it, backs you up a little bit. What happened right there? Was it something that play calling that you did get on time? What really happened right there? It seemed like that really set you back a little bit right then.
Yeah, just really disappointing sequence of events. We only had, I think we had 3 penalties the entire game, and that was a critical one. It was a different situation. We just got a nice 10-yard plus run for our first down. Drake got injured. There was also a penalty, so we were out. We were kind of sorting through that. We had our big package on the field. I think we were inside the 5-yard line, and the time just got away from us, and we got to delay a game. I personally thought that it happened really fast after the sequence of events there. I thought maybe they should have restarted that 25-second clock, but that's for here and there. And then once we had that penalty, we went from the 3, inside the 5, backed up to not in a big package situation, and we had to change out some guys and just had to call a timeout there. And bad look for the football team, bad look on me, not handling that better. And that was a critical situation, and we'll learn from it.
Go ahead with a follow-up. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. Reed, I guess question I'd ask you is, you've gone through this now being the interim. What is something maybe that you thought was going to be tough, that was going to be harder, or you didn't realize going into it that was going to be so difficult that now you look back on it, you're like, I didn't think about that? What are some of those things that, looking back on it now, with this being the last week of the season, that you can say or some things that surprised you a little bit about being the interim?
Heath, to be honest with you, I went into this expecting this to be hard. There weren't a whole lot of things that shocked me about how hard it was. I've been through situations like this before, and it's tough. It's tough on everybody, because change is coming. And with the portal and the way college football is now, it changes kind of affecting everybody, and or it's on the back of everybody's mind. So I approached it with the thought of just being as consistent as I could be with my messaging and what I was telling the staff and the players and the media. And I knew winning football games was going to be really hard. I knew that, and ultimately my goal was not just to win football. That was going to be a byproduct of us just maybe doing things a little bit better. But my goal was to keep these guys playing hard, keep them out of the portal, keep them believing in each other and showing up every week. And I believe we've done that. And I do not question how hard these guys have played. They're going to play hard this weekend. There's no doubt about it. They've proven it for 5 straight games. They will continue to play when things don't go well, or when we not getting over that hump and not winning a football game. But I do think we're playing smarter, and I do think we're starting to play better. I think that's obvious, and we got to continue to do that just to give us a chance this weekend. But I told the guys, as long as they just keep playing hard and giving everything they got for each other, and which they've done, then that'll give us a chance. And if we make a play here or there, play a little smarter, then we might get a win this weekend.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate your time, Coach. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Sure. Well, I think we're doing what's required to win. Our players have learned how to win, so I think we're doing the things that we need to do and that's required to win football games. The turnover game Saturday was significant. We were able to take the ball away twice, did not turn the football over. I think one of the other key elements was what we call hidden yardage on special teams. I thought, some of the execution of things from the kickoff to the punt team helped flip field positions in really critical moments of the game. When you look at just critical down execution from 4th down, 4th and 1, red zone efficiency is scoring touchdowns in the red area, not kicking field goals. And then the 4-minute offense at the end of the game to be able to close the game out. So, really proud of our players. Next challenge right around the corner with a really well-coached football team. Have a lot of respect for them, the way they play. week to week is a new season, and it brings about, we always talk about style of play brings about different fights and different elements. And this week we're facing a complete different style of play, really good defensive scheme that really forces you to execute. And then offensively, they do a great job with obviously running the quarterback, really good skilled players, spread you out, up tempo, and really take advantage of your schematical weaknesses. With all the pop passes and insert plays and all that. So again, you have to recreate yourself each and every week and on to the next challenge.
All right, we'll start off with Charles. Charles?
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Charles.
Question for you about Travion Thomas, man. 3 interceptions to close out games this season. It seems like his game has definitely stepped up from last year. Just talk about what you've seen from him this year so far.
I think, you see a consistency in performance week in and week out, but also consistency in preparation. He prepares as hard as anyone we have on our football team. He obviously has played a lot of football for us. So again, he's playing like a senior. It's like I told our team when the season started, seniors are different individuals. They either play their best football or their worst football, and there's never any in between. And Travion is one of those individuals who's playing his best football for us.
Jeff, I see you're unmuted there. You're on your cell phone. Do you have anything?
Yeah, and he's guzzling some drink as well, so I hope it's a good energy drink or something.
I wasn't gonna make him try to go in reactions on his cell phone, so I was just gonna call him out real quick if you had anything.
Yeah, am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Butch kind of talked about the progression of what you've seen with the program and kind of where you are now. I know you're not where you think that you excuse me, that's my grandson. You're not where you think you should be as a program wise, but you're making significant progress each season.
Well, we are, and I think that's the thing. And it's always, this is our 4th program we've taken over, and each program has had different starting points. And so, where our starting point was very similar to some of the other programs. And from a culture to a connection to your principles and values that guide you every single day to the competency level of your players, we're light years ahead of where we are. We still have a long ways to go, but the competitive depth. But I think the biggest thing is knowing how to win, knowing how to prepare, your connection, your culture every single day that has to drive you. You got to fight for your culture every day. But I'm really proud of our players and our staff, but as we all know, we live in a week to week season. But from where we've come, it's night and day, from just the building of everything from academic excellence to, you name it, champions in the community, to, the depth, to the way we practice, to the expectations, to, playing hard, to the fundamentals, the details, the discipline. It's been a long journey, but it's been one that's required a lot of patience, and a lot of resolve along the way. And that's why this senior class have been instrumental in really being our culture setters. The individuals that have stayed have really helped us build this thing from the ground zero. When I talk about ground zero, I mean ground zero. And that's not to take away from anything in the past. But also, they've also welcomed newcomers into our program through the portal and kind of taught them our principles, our values, our expectations, and they've held them accountable, but they've also embraced them along the way as well.
Go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, you touched a little bit on in that last answer there, but with it being year 4 in the program at Arkansas State, what does this senior class mean to you that you'll be sending off with senior day this weekend? And obviously, hopefully having a bowl game in the future and potentially an 8-win season for you guys. What does it mean to have those guys that committed to you in year 1 and have stuck with you throughout?
Well, again, they're the culture setters. I mean, they're the ones that, had opportunities to leave. And we talked about, a belief and kind of a blind trust to how we were going to build this thing. And we're going to build it obviously with culture and connection and a toughness and a mentality. And we still have a long ways to go. But these individuals that have really kind of stuck it out, they own the program. They don't rent the program. They own it. They're leading. They're very prideful of it. They're very prideful of when we play at home, the diligence that it takes now to win on the road. And they're the torchbearers. They're the torchbearers of our culture. They're the culture setters. They've been through so much. There are sound bites. I remember, my first year talking to, Coastal Carolina and how they changed it. And they talked about, being a player-run football program and not a coach-led football program. And I think that's where we've got to is we're a player-led football team right now. Our players take ownership in the way they perform, the expectations every time they step on the football field. But I think the other thing that they've gone through a process is once you start to win, how do you handle winning? You're going to get everyone's best game and you have to recreate yourself. You have to reinvent yourself every single week and you have to really start from ground zero. And the teams that win consistently, they're able to do that. The teams that can't, they go through the ebbs and flows of a long season, good weeks, bad weeks. And like I said, we have a tremendous amount of challenge. I have a lot of respect for Ricky and everything he's built there. And we're expecting to get their best game and we're going to have to play our best football to win the game.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah. Obviously proud of the effort and toughness that we played with in the game. But ultimately we made too many mistakes in order to get the win. It was a good Marshall team. Hats off to them, and they played well enough to win, and we did not do that at certain aspects. So looking forward to going and playing Coach Jones and Arkansas State. They're obviously playing great football right now, and they are doing the things that are necessary to win close games. And so it's going to be a great challenge. So questions?
Appreciate that, Coach. As a reminder for our members of the media, if you have a question, go to reactions, raise your hand. Be happy to call on you. I'm going to start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, what's the message to the team going into this weekend? And then, what would a win against Arkansas State do in terms of momentum for the program going into the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is still about 1-0. Right, you got to go 1-0 and you got to win this game. And the reality of it is, I talked to our players a bunch, after the game, and I think in general, all of us in college football, we need to be more intrinsically motivated as opposed to extrinsically motivated. We shouldn't have to depend on, because when you're extrinsically motivated, you're dependent on others. I'm dependent on somebody giving me a bowl game. I'm dependent on somebody, giving me a raise. I'm dependent on somebody giving me an all-conference accolade. I'm dependent on those sort of things. Where when you're intrinsically motivated, your success and failure is whether you lived up to your own personal potential and whether you did what you prepared the way you should prepare. You played as hard as you can possibly play. You made the mental focus that you need to play in that game. And that's something that's going to last a lot longer and be much less dependent. Doesn't mean it's going to be any less standards. In fact, it's probably a higher standard. If you're the right type of person, you're probably holding yourself to even a higher standard than anybody else ever could.
And then, Coach, you guys are really clicking on all cylinders in the second half. What does it say about your team that you forced Marshall to continuously respond? Obviously, they were able to do so and win the game, but continuously the offense forced Marshall to respond and score touchdowns to be able to beat you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think we made some great halftime adjustments and things like that. I thought the guys played with a lot more conviction and a lot more trust and a lot more belief in the second half, and ultimately we executed. And the part that's frustrating for every single person in that locker room was we know that we had the opportunities to do that in the first half and we didn't take it. And so ultimately that was the difference in the game. If we play that way in the first half, maybe that score turns out a little bit different. But we did not. And the reality of it is a 60-minute game and we've got to play that way the whole, all 60 minutes.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously really proud of the players and their willingness to respond and continue to fight and continue to battle. Hard fought game. Hats off to ODU and their team and their staff. Every year, that's honestly probably our toughest game for whatever reason, whether it be score, whether it be personnel, whether it be adjustments. But I thought our kids battled. We talked about it all week. It was going to be a 60-minute game. We were going to have to respond. We knew, obviously, going on the road, hostile environment, senior day. They do a really good job with their game day there. We're going to have to actually pull together and respond. I thought our kids did a great job. I thought our coaches did a great job of adjusting. They stressed us out a little bit in the second half with some adjustments they made. One of our goals is always to win the fourth quarter. So at the beginning of the fourth quarter, we just talked about it. We just got to win the fourth quarter. If we do that, we'd win the game. And I thought our kids did a good job all the way down to the end of continuing the battle.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to members of the meeting, if you have a question, go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll start with Sam. Sam?
Coach, being at a Marshall program with so much history, what does it mean to you and to your guys to have the opportunity to control your own destiny and have the chance to make a Sunbelt football championship game with a win this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've earned the right to go to JMU and battle a really good team. We haven't earned the right for anything beyond that. I mean, obviously, there's prognostications and there's what ifs and scenarios, but none of that affects what's going to happen on Saturday. And we got a tremendous challenge this week. JMU is probably one of the most fundamentally sound football teams we'll play. They're tough, they're physical. Coach has done a really good job of not only, I won't say rebuilding, but retooling that program. Obviously, you lose a coach and so many players, and you come in and to be able to still be running on all cylinders. That's a testament to him. That's a testament to everybody there. So we've got to work on, this week being really, really good against JMU. And if we do that, then, just like every week, we get an opportunity to extend our season. But, whether it's, hey, if you win, what happens next? I don't think you can focus on that. Obviously, that's what the fans and the media, that's what you guys get to do. But if we don't beat JMU, we're just another really good Marshall team that won some games and came up short. So, in order to change the narrative, we got to have a really good week of practice and go execute on Saturday.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach, you guys have consistently had things really clicking on offense. You guys make difference with wins and losses in a lot of your games with how your defense is played. But James Madison has, made a kind of a name for themselves with how they play on special teams. What kind of preparations are you going to make sure that you guys are sound in those protections and coverages and making sure that special teams isn't a place where this game's decided against you?
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty good on special teams as well. We've had some big plays. Probably was the turn in the game, last week for us. And week before that, we made some plays. We just got to execute. We look at it as, all three phases have to respond. We've got a lot of guys that play on special teams that maybe aren't starters or, rotational guys on offense and defense. So they're starters on that unit. So like every week, we've got to respond. We've got to look at what we do well, what they do well, and try and minimize our deficiencies versus their strengths. And then we've got to be able to go out and execute. Our kickers and specialists got to execute. No one really, circles or highlights the guy making the block on the big kick return, but those little things are what matter. When you get into the back end of November and you're playing meaningful football, all three phases have to be, contributing. And right now, like you said, JMU is doing a great job, with special teams. We've got to be ready for that challenge on Saturday.
Sam.
Coach, you mentioned responding to challenges, and obviously ODU was able to go and score touchdowns on 4 straight drives against you guys this past weekend, but you guys were able to come back on offense and score 3 straight touchdowns to win the game. What did that say about your offense or your team as a whole, the resiliency to be able to continuously, respond punch for punch with ODU in the second half?
It was interesting, obviously the kids, they hear what they want to hear when you're coaching. And we always talk about, taking the strain off the other units, if defensively, if they happen to give up a touchdown offense, you got to take the strain off by going and scoring their special teams. And as those interactions were going, the offense was saying to the defense, we're going to take the strain off you. And special teams say, we'll take the strain off you. And I think that's what you got to be able to do. When you get into the back end of the season, you battle, season worth of reps and season worth of film and tendencies. Teams are going to be able to kind of find your deficiencies. And then you got to adjust. But what you got to be able to have is you got to be able to play. People say complementary football all the time. I tell them all the time, when Steph Curry comes down and hits a three, that didn't mean he can't go back on defense and play good D. So you got to go back and forth. You can't just say, well, we scored, we can't play good D, or well, our offense is going to carry us or our defense is going to carry us. I think what you're starting to see, and what I'm most proud of as a coach, you're starting to see complementary football. I've been here in years past where the defense was really, really good and we struggled to score points or move the ball. I've been, places where the offense was really, really good and you struggled to stop people. Right now, we've got good balance. When the offense is rolling, the defense is playing well and vice versa. So we got to continue to be able to respond to each other, take the strain off. Each team is going to get better. There's no more bad teams on our schedule.
Sam, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, I got one more, Coach. Just, you talked about teams getting better and adding additional wrinkles. What has Ian Foster done, or maybe just the kickoff return unit done for you guys to become really a difference-making unit these past 2 weeks for you?
Obviously when you talk kick return, most of the people, you think about the big touchdowns and the explosive plays and the big crowd moments. But I mean, if you really look, we've been starting most of our drives somewhere around the 40 or the 50-yard line. I mean, you're talking 2 first downs and you're in field goal range. So that's been a huge piece. We've been able to, start offensive drives in the middle of the field. That minimizes the amount of plays you have to run on offense before you can get to the end zone. It minimizes what defenses can do because you get into a certain area and, they're kind of in red zone defense. So it's been huge. Ian's done a really good job of stepping in. Jordan's taking a little bit more of the running back role. So just trying to obviously keep players involved. And Coach G's done a really good job. The entire unit's done a good job. As long as we can continue to have really good field position, it helps your offense. When you got to go the distance, it makes it really tough.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy your holidays.
Yeah, excited to be at home this last week. The regular season, obviously, it's senior day, so we've got a lot of young men that are playing their last time here in Hancock Whitney Stadium that have done an outstanding job. They're going to have an opportunity to graduate with three straight bowl game appearances, really laying the foundation for a young football program. So very proud of them and their accomplishments here, all of which have graduated. So very proud, and it's a great time for us this week as we celebrate Thanksgiving, and obviously very pleased to come away with the win in Hattiesburg last week. So already off and rolling with our practices, and looking forward to the game this Friday.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll start with Sam. Sam?
Coach, you talk about South Alabama being a young program, but what does it really mean for you as a coach, and then obviously for the seniors that you just touched on, to be part of the 3 years that you guys have had, and now to be playing in a game as one of 4 teams with the potential to be in the championship game in the final weekend of the regular season?
Yeah, for me personally, it feels great. Obviously, those are one of your goals that you have when you start the season, and not knowing if you'll ever have an opportunity to be a head coach again. If we want to get real personal about it, it's just it's great for my wife and family and I, and God has been very good to our family, and we're just very grateful for this opportunity, and to take the team to a bowl game and now to the program, to keep the upward trajectory and kind of the tradition going. That's something that's obviously very satisfying. But this isn't where we want to stop. Obviously, we've got more goals ahead of ourselves, and we'll see how Friday and Saturday play out. And but right now, our focus is strictly on a really good Texas State football team.
And then, yeah, Coach, as you turn the page to Texas State, what makes them such a challenge to prepare for? And maybe your first time, obviously, as a head coach going against GJ Kinne, what makes his offense such a difficult group to go against?
Well, as a team, it's a combination of talent and playing hard. It's one thing to have talent that doesn't work hard, then that's underachieving, but it plays hard on all 3 phases: offense, defense, special teams. So great talent that plays hard. You know, and then you get into the fact that that talent has a lot of speed on both sides of the ball, great team speed. You know, and then you get into their schematics. You know, offensively, they'll press the tempo. They do like to run the football. They will throw the football. They've got dynamic receivers, so they keep you off balance with their tempo and just their overall play selection formations. And then defensively, they have, you know, all three of their levels of their defense have speed and length. You know, their defensive line, their linebackers, their secondary, there's experience there. I know there's a kind of a narrative that there's a lot of transfers, but that doesn't matter as long as everybody plays together and they're on the same page and they execute. And you know, I think GJ's done a great job of accumulating talent, pulling it together, and winning ball games.
And then, Coach, last one for me here, but you know, how challenging is it for a team like Texas State? They've got multiple options at different positions. They got multiple running backs that have had, you know, breakout games for them, multiple wide receivers that are dynamic. It seems like, you know, obviously every team in this league has a couple of great players, but it seems like in terms of accumulating talent, like you said, they're one of the best in terms of just the talent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you see, whether it's 11, 2, 0, you know, you see the stats and then you look up, I'm like, well, who's the 7 guy? You know, and who, you know, he's pretty good. And you see 21, 22, and I'm like, yeah, but this back 33, and there's others that don't even, you know, get their name on paper, but you turn on the film and you're like, this guy's a really good player. You see it with injuries. You know, you'll see a guy go down up front and they fill him in with another great player. And that's really the key to success in any league, truthfully, is being able to be deep enough to where attrition doesn't get you.
We'll go to Adam.
Coach Applewhite, the importance of being disruptive up front, obviously that's played a big part of a lot of your defensive success this year, but last week as well. Texas State has a lot of weapons on the outside, multiple guys they'll run the ball with, but how important is it going to be for your defense to really be disruptive, specifically up front in this matchup, to make things easier on your back end?
Yeah. You know, you got to muddy up the run game and you've got to make the quarterback uncomfortable. And so that obviously starts inside. So when it comes time to pass rush, we need to be effective with our pass rush, discipline with our pass rush, because both of their quarterbacks can move. They can extend plays. They look to move and extend plays. They can run, but they don't look to just necessarily run when they leave the pocket. So we've got to be disciplined in our rush lanes, relentless in our effort and pursuit to the quarterback. Then from an outside standpoint, we got to have great eyes and great discipline. These guys are going to get open at times. We got to make sure that we don't have bust and wide open receivers. Once they do get open and catch the football, we got to make sure we tackle them because they're dynamic in space. I'm not trying to overstate it. I think this is a really good wide receiver core. I think their line's good and can protect. I think their quarterbacks can deliver the ball. I think their running backs can run. That's, you know, why they're a top in terms of scoring and overall offense. So we have to be disciplined in our run fits, disciplined in our pass lanes, have very disciplined with our eyes, make sure we stay on top of things. And then when they do make plays, we got to make sure we get people down, you know, and I'm not conceding anything and saying that we're not going to have some negative plays in there that we can create as well. But those are the things that we've got to do on a consistent basis throughout the day.
Thank you. And I thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes